Hi there, good afternoon. It's Ted Usher, and it's March the 5th, 2022, and on a beautiful sunny day here in the Comox Valley. I'm actually in the Cumberland Cemetery here, which is in the Comox Valley, and there's a good reason why I'm here today. It's kind of a personal thing, and it's much different than the videos that I have done on my channel with regards to driving around, and I do enjoy driving, but this is quite different. I'm a volunteer researcher with an organization called the Last Post Fund. And the Last Post Fund has a program called the Unmarked Grave Program, also the Indigenous Veterans Initiative. And what we do as researchers is we go out into the communities and we do online research, and we are looking for unmarked graves of our veterans. Veterans from World War I, veterans from World War II, who happen to be laying in a grave that does not have a headstone. And I've been doing this for several months now, and I've probably looked at, 4,000 or 5,000 grave sites. And the reason I'm here in Cumberland is because I've taken special attention to one grave in particular. And this grave belongs to a fellow by the name of Edwin Clifford Harbottle. He was born the 9th of May, 1896 in Caravelle, Saskatchewan, to Mary and William Harbottle. He had 6 brothers and 3 sisters, and they were in a farming community, and the family was farming. In the 6th of March of 1916, when Edwin was only 19 years of age, he joined the Canadian Expeditionary Force at the age of 19 in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. He joined the 229th Battalion of the Canadian, the CEF. He was, at that time, at 19 years of age, he was a farmer in Cadillac, Saskatchewan. And not only did he join, but 2 of his brothers, Ewart and Alan, also joined. Unfortunately, they all survived the war. On the 18th of April 1917, after training in Canada, Edwin was shipped to Liverpool, England, where he arrived on the 29th of April of 1917. From there in England, he received further training, and on the 21st of June 1917, Edwin was shipped off to France, where he fought in France, and he also ended up in Belgium with and he was with the 46th Battalion, which was known at the time as the Suicide Battalion. He fought in the trenches of Passchendaele. Now, as you're watching this video, I hope to be running some pictures past with regards to the war that happened in the battle in Passchendaele in the trenches, and you'll see the type of conditions that these soldiers fought in October to November of 1917, and Edwin was there. On the 29th of October 1917, Edward was severely wounded with bullet wounds and shrapnel, and he almost lost his leg and was badly injured in the knee and the shoulder. During that war, during that battle, the 46th Battalion lost 1,433 of their soldiers. 3,484 were wounded. Edwin would spend 6 weeks in a field hospital in France, and then back to England, and he would spend a further year in hospital with multiple operations. In September of 1918, Edwin was shipped back to Canada, where he would end up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, in a hospital. Again, more operations. And in January of 1919, he ended up in the military hospital in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And again, he was subject to several more operations. On the 25th of September 1919, Edwin Harbottle would be discharged from the hospital, and he would also be discharged from the Canadian Expeditionary Force. His service pay for all of that was $1.10 a day. Those soldiers that fought overseas during that time were paid only about $1 a day. In 1936, Edwin married a lady by the name of Violet Pudsey in Washington State, and apparently they didn't have any children, and they made their home in Vancouver. But later they moved to Royston, which is a small community just down the highway here in the Comox Valley. He was divorced in 1946, and Edwin Clifford Harbottle passed away at the age of 51 on the 5th of November 1947 in Vancouver. And on his death certificate, he was listed as a carnival showman. So when I was doing this research, I came to this cemetery and I found Edwin's grave. Now, the program that the Last Post Fund has is such that the Last Post Fund will pay for the installation of a headstone on unmarked graves. Well, as you'll see soon, you'll see that Edwin has a headstone. He's in a marked grave, but the condition of it is totally it's terrible. It's the worst grave site that I've seen in my months of doing this research. And my goal has been to get Edwin Harbottle, a World War I veteran who fought for our country, was severely wounded. I want to get him a proper headstone, a better headstone, to mark his grave, so that in future generations we'll see that this gentleman here, buried in this cemetery in Cumberland, has a proper veteran headstone. Now, unfortunately, the Last Post Fund will not install a headstone where there already is one. And I understand that, and that's their policy, and that's what I work with. But I found out recently that perhaps there may be some funds available through donations there where we could provide the headstone. I've also contacted the Royal Canadian Legion branch here in Cumberland, where Edwin was a member of, and hopefully they'll be able to provide some funds as well to help pay for the headstone and the installation. I do have a bit of a roadblock because the town or the village of Cumberland, they rejected my first request back in October to have the grave site cleaned up and the items removed. And as you'll see the reasons why in a few minutes here. And because of their bylaw and because of their policies, they were not able to help me out, and I understand that, and that's their rules, and we have to follow that. But I hope when I come back to them with new information, that they'll see that this is a different situation, and they will help with some renovating of the gravesite. One of the issues is that the gravesite belongs to the family or belongs to the deceased, and they're not the town and the village is not willing to sort of step in. And I do understand that, and I respect that. However, I have found a distant relative, and of course we're talking two or three generations now since Edwin has died, but I have found a relative who is willing to support me on this project. So I've been running some pictures of Passchendaele and soldiers during this video, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off, and I will take you up to where his gravesite is and show you the reason why I've taken on this project. And I hope that once I get things going and I make an announcement, then perhaps people will donate to help me refurbish and give Edwin Harbottle the headstone and the marker that he really deserves as a Canadian veteran. Thank you. So what you're looking at now is the gravesite of Edwin Clifford Harbottle. As you can see, it's in terrible condition. It's sunken in. The curbs have all rotted away. There's a tree growing out of the side of it. And as you can see on his headstone, his name has almost disappeared. when I was doing the research looking for Edwin, I kept walking past here, and I kept wondering where his grave was, but it took me about an hour to really determine where it was. Now this is an old graveyard. There's no doubt about it. And some of them are in condition because they've been in a condition that they've been worn, they've been weathered. But this particular gravesite of Edwin, it really needs to be looked after. And that's my mission, is to clean this grave up, leave the original headstone, but add in a proper veterans headstone. And I will, and you've seen pictures of them probably already, but I will post another picture on this video. So that's why I'm doing this, because of the condition of this man's gravesite. A person who left our country and fought in one of the worst battles during World War I and survived, was severely wounded, and came back to Canada. We need to do something for this veteran. Thank you.